I
You
think
know,
that's
an
yeah.
argument against Trotskyism is that seems like it's particularly susceptible to pro-imperialist psyops. But
Yes.
now I kind of have to walk that back because I've always been very anti-Trotskyist, but I can't always exactly say that now because lots of groups calling themselves communist and Marxist-Leninists and all these things are just as useful to the imperialists as anybody else. So it's kind of like people have said on the stream before about the left-right thing. It's definitely a confusing time to be alive because I think you and I, Caleb, both can remember a time in our lives when we kind of thought that Stalin style ML communism was the way, the truth, and the life. And now it's just not. It's not that simple. And we also see the problems. And
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, at this point, we're moving away from using the communist label because it doesn't, at this point, to people that become communists, it means something that we're not. And to people that oppose communism, who are very good and anti-imperialist, it means something that it's not. And it's like we're innovationists now because it's just such a mess, right? And that I mean, it's like it's like you almost can view the world as like if you want to frame it in theological terms, like God and Satan are battling for control of this world, and that like God will have an idea and then Satan will be like, oh, well, I'm going to do my version of it. Right. And then Satan will have an idea and God will be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do my version of it. You know what I mean? And that then there's a copy of the copy. Right. And then there's a response to the response. And it's like almost like everything that happens. And this is how there's like a weird duality in politics where it's like everything that happens, there's a version of it on the other side. I've noticed.
yeah, it's a
Like,
hall of mirrors. There has to be a decoy of everything.
right. And that really I'm at the point where are people pro growth? Are they anti growth? That is big. Are they critical of the censorship and do they want the human race to expand? Do they want the life expectancy to go up? They want the population to expand, or do they want the population to go down? Are they just demonizing the countries that are under attack by imperialism, or are they pushing back against the war rhetoric? Like those are certain things to look for, and that how people explain it ideologically almost doesn't, I mean, it matters. It's like something I'll talk to them over coffee with, but it's not going to help me get anything done. If someone says, oh, Caleb, I agree with you about Trotsky, or I agree with you about Stalin, it's like, okay, well, when Donald Trump gets elected and he's under attack by, the bulk of his own class, and he appoints Tulsi Gabbard, who is more friendly to Russia and has met with Bashar Assad to be the director of intelligence to like try to stick it to the CIA. Are you going to help me be in the streets to kind of
Yeah.
mobilize some intervention there or not? Right. And what you think about Stalin really, it doesn't really
You know,
answer that question.
I
Yeah.
love what John McCarthy said, one of our CPI members, for anybody new watching.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, I don't know if I should pull it up because I don't want to misquote it, but I think he said, saying that both wings in this division in the ruling class are equally bad is just as foolish as saying trust the plan. And it's like I think that we need to try to influence Trump's cabinet and not just give up on go to this ultra leftist thing of like both sides are capitalist Zionists. That's like a kindergarten level analysis of what's going on.
Right. It is. And it's like we have the opportunity and it's like it's about the balance of forces, right? If a lot of the people supporting Tulsi Gabbard were anti-Israel, there's a good chance that Tulsi Gabbard would be much more open to that perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as I've said, I mean, the fact that Tulsi Gabbard was persuaded on Korea and on Syria, it's like, why not Palestine? It might
Yeah.
be harder, but I don't think it's impossible. I mean, what choice do we have but to try to convince people that we don't need a nuclear war and so forth?
Right. I mean, and the point is, we're struggling. We see divisions in the ruling class. We see divisions. How can we make ourselves relevant and push our agenda of anti-imperialism and ultimately put forward what we view as the solution? And that's the question, right? And if the question is just to kind of like feel right on the internet, which is so much of what the culture is, right? It's just how can I prove that I am right on the internet? It's just like what do you get from that? It's like, I mean, it's like I've never been to a funeral where they're like, Bob died. But folks, there was that time that Bob was right on the internet, and we'll never forget that. Everyone remembers that day. Bob was right on the internet, and that's what he'll always go down in history for, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
Yeah.
like,
And that's another reason of moving away from the communist label is because for so many people, being a communist is about having the moral high ground in internet debates. That's not an exaggeration. That's what being a communist is in America.